up, guys? Pat here. I'm actually recording this video in my closet because it's a little late at night. Insert any homosexual implications you have about me being in a closet. But anyway, I'm recording this video. It's actually the result of a Snapchat poll I did. And I asked people what they would like to see me do on YouTube and if they're enjoying my videos. And someone said that I should do a video explaining how I became a conservative. And I thought that was a very good question. I pondered that a lot myself. And it's been an organic process, it's been an extended process in my ideological development. And yeah, let's get into it. So growing up, I was always very perfectionistic. I remember when I played baseball, up until when I was 12 or 13 years old, I still cried every time I got out. And I threw my helmet and I threw my bat, and I didn't understand why I was like that. It seemed like everything was out of my control, and my dad was mad at me for being immature, for good reason, because I was much less emotionally mature than a lot of other people on the field. And I didn't understand that this perfectionism was the result of some kind of mental malady. And I've experienced some mental health issues in my life that I'm not going to go into in this video because that would take a long time to kind of discuss and to mitigate. But just a lot of these issues and the resolution thereof have helped me develop my ideology. And a lot of people who deride me like to say, oh, you must still be mentally ill because some of the ideas you have are indicative of that. And I think that's funny because I believe that I come across as very rational and very eloquent. So I think that that's a little bit of, ad hominem, but I enjoy discourse with those kind of people. Anyway, going back to the topic of this video, you might be wondering, how do your mental health struggles have any correlation with your political orientation? And my answer to that is simple. I encountered two people en route to recourse and to fixing my mental health issues. I encountered people that coddled me, to people that told me that it was not my fault, that it's a horrible thing that happened to me, and that they would pray for me to get better. And obviously you like to hear that as a kid. You like to hear it's not your fault, and you like to hear that it's out of your control. But the most helpful people that I encountered, my therapist, my parents, a lot of my friends, some of my dearest friends ever, told me that it's my responsibility to fix myself. And it was my responsibility to kind of pull myself up by the bootstraps and dig into myself. And those are the people that I appreciate most, because those are the people who truly care about me. There's obviously a very famous phrase that if you teach a man to fish, he'll eat for life. If you give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. I reverse that order, but it's a very true thing that those people that kind of coddled me and who told me it was going to be all right didn't offer a solution. And so I'll tie that back to politics in a second. Around the time of my recovery from my ultimate mental health issue, I was about 12. It was 2014. And the incipient 2016 U.S. election began to be underway. And some candidates started speculating as to whether they were going to run or not. And I was newly exposed to the media, to the news media, and to all its whims and caprices and its peculiarities. And I began to see a pattern that emerged in the media that kind of invoked dissonance in me, because I was raised, obviously, with my mental health issues and me solving those issues. I was raised with personal accountability inculcated in me. I was kind of beaten down by my own mental health issues, and I was responsible for building myself back up. And one of the things that kind of prompted me to question the media was I saw several articles at that point advocating the expansion of social welfare. And obviously, social welfare is a program that is used to kind of supplement, optimally supposed to supplement the incomes and the livelihoods of poor and vulnerable people. But I was very inquisitive, I still am. I began researching some of the statistics of social welfare. I saw the unemployment or lack of employment of so many people on welfare, and how people were exploiting it, and how people were manipulating it. And I began to realize these people, this welfare is not giving them an impetus to work. There's no motivation for them to work. It's like if people kept coddling me and no one put it on me to get myself better, I would still be in the funk that I was in. So that really kind of sowed the seeds of conservatism into my mind. Obviously, it's a syncretism of everything, of personal responsibility is a bedrock issue, a bedrock value that conservatives have. And that issue was seminal in my life and in my development into who I am today. And that was something that I saw in the media that the leftist media was advocating against, it seemed to me. 2014 melted into 2015, and this social obsession with PC culture and safe spaces and the like dominated the media. It invoked a new kind of dissonance to me, a kind of social dissonance. The values that I had been raised to believe in, which had rectified my own issues, were being challenged and outright defied in the media. And I saw that these values were being challenged, and I wondered, why are people not wanting to hear what is true? If I hadn't heard what's true, that it's only me that can fix myself and that no magic pixie dust can be sprinkled over my 12-year-old head to rid me of the demons that dwell within. If I had never heard that it's all my responsibility, I would still be in where I was, obsessing over perfectionism. And if I had never heard people tell me that it's my responsibility, I would have blamed it on other people. And I was seeing the lack of self-responsibility. I'm seeing the lack of personal accountability, and that not only in economics, but in social realms. And I was seeing PC culture. People didn't want to hear the truth. They were challenging free speech. They were ascribing racism and xenophobia and all the isms, as I mentioned before, to anything and everything that they saw that they didn't like or didn't agree with. And I thought that was counterintuitive. I was raised to believe that you can say what you want to say, and people don't have to agree with it, but they will respect your right to say it. And what I saw was people were rallying to ban speech. And I've always been a very outspoken person. I've never been afraid to kind of express myself verbally. I think that verbal and writing is my best means of expression. And I think that when any entity tries to challenge that, it should be challenged itself. Ironically, my experiences with liberalism, or more accurately leftism, are what turned me into conservative. I saw the media and the people clamoring for handouts and for other people to be accountable for what they are to be owed. And I believe that went against my very value. And I saw how I recovered from my own mental health issues. I saw that was not the way I recovered. And I believe that if people adopt a sense of personal responsibility, which dictates their ideologies, then they will go far and they will recover from whatever maladies they have been experiencing, and that they will succeed in life. What has always bothered me is that instead of tackling their own weaknesses, some people always deflect and they bury their vulnerabilities. But when you bury your vulnerabilities, you have to be prepared to dig up your identity. You'll never have an identity if you refuse to recognize what's wrong with you, because what's wrong with you is part of you, whether you like it or not, and that's what you can build on to find your real identity. I don't claim to have seen the light, but I do claim to have escaped from the dark. And the reason I have such vehement opinions on politics is because those are the opinions that are wrought from attitudes that helped me recover and that can help everyone heal, in my opinion. My ideological journey is not complete, and no one should be. I think everyone should be open to new ideas, but not so open that their mind falls out. Thank you for watching.